perspective of entrepreneurship.
Overview.
Good day, everyone. Our topic for today is about perspective of entrepreneurship. Now let's define entrepreneurship and entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is the creation or extraction of economic value. Entrepreneurship is viewed as change generates entailing risk beyond what is normally encountered in starting a business, which may include other values than simply economic ones. Entrepreneurship is earning or saving money while you don't have a job or if you want to start earning money. We people need money, especially if it's for a gift for a friend or helping our parents save money for college funds. Entrepreneurship can help by saving money for later use, just for needs and for the future year. An entrepreneurship is someone who starts or owns a business, whether it's farming, retail, and manufacture, or it's the service sector. Entrepreneurs are business people who find their success by taking risks. In their pursuits, they often become disruptors in established industries. Entrepreneurs is someone who organizes, manages, and assumes the risk of business or enterprise. An entrepreneur is an agent of change. Next is global entrepreneurships. Are those who seek out and conduct new and innovative business activities like exporting, licensing, opening a new sales office, or acquiring another venture across national borders. Global entrepreneurship is a process whereby companies are inclined entrepreneurial due to effects of globalization. This process requires entrepreneurs to alter their operation while applying innovative marketing strategies and emphasizing on quality or product specialization. The two main perspectives of entrepreneurship are the predictable logic and the older and more traditional build and the creation logic, which has been developed through recent advances in the field. Prediction is the opposite creation, whereas prediction thinking is used to situation of certainty. The creation is when the future is unpredictable. Prediction comes with big planning, wait until you get what you need, expected return, linear avoid failure of all costs. Prediction is when the problem is easy to solve by thinking and easy to predict the future, but expect that it will have 50% for the win and 50% for the lose. It comes of creation, small action, starting with what you have, acceptable loss, iterative, experimentation. Creation is the opposite of prediction, which has more preparation and takes time. Also, creation always just when comes a problem that can solve by only thinking.
Hi. For today's discussion, we will discuss how entrepreneurship may be different of what you think. There's this myth that media often exaggerates, which is the rise of these so-called overnight global sensations. They often show us images of Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, and even Elon Musk. From these, we often get the idea that entrepreneurs are often represented by the image of these male tech hero geniuses, and it captured the public's imagination for decades. While these successful entrepreneurs are indeed inspiring, we should understand that they achieve the success that they have through a great deal of practice. And there's no such thing as an overnight success. Because even Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, has admitted to having approximately 10,000 hours of practice before even launching Microsoft. Founder of Uber, which is Trevor Kalanick, he had to experience 10 years of rocky history of startups, threats of lawsuits, and even filing a bankruptcy before Uber succeeded. And in the Philippines, according to the Inquirer.net, successful Filipino entrepreneurs who started small included Miss Socorro Ramos of National Bookstore. She opened the National Bookstore at the age of 19 with her husband and a capital of 200 pesos. They aim to sell books and school supplies to students. This article also included other successful Filipino entrepreneurs, such as follows: Mr. Tony Tan Cactiong of Jollibee, Ed Garcia of Mang Inasal, Resida Tuerez of Greenwich Plaza, and the owners of Goldilocks, Potato Corner, The Aristocrat, and Henlin. Hence, this debunks the stereotypical image and myth we have of entrepreneurship. There is no such thing as an overnight success. These exaggerated tales can be intimidating and make others afraid to embark the path of entrepreneurship. It is important that we first debunk these myths as a first step of believing that every one of us are capable of being an entrepreneur. Types of entrepreneurship. First, we have corporate entrepreneurship, which is also known as intrapreneurship. It is a process of creating new products, ventures, processes, or renewal within large organizations. It is typically carried out by employees working in units separate from the organization, who creates and tests innovation that are assimilated back inside the broader organization. An example of this is Google's Gmail. Gmail by Google was actually an idea of Paul Bouquet, who is the company's 23rd employee, when he envisioned having a web-based email that could also provide a search engine within the already existing email service. The opportunity to be a corporate entrepreneur very much depends on the organization. Organizations like Google and Apple are known for encouraging an entrepreneur spirit, while some aren't enthusiastic about it, as they fear that if they encourage their employees to be more entrepreneurial, they leave the company and start their own. For letter B, we have Entrepreneurs Inside. Entrepreneurs Inside consists of employees who think and act entrepreneurially within organizations. Although this sounds similar to the first one, which is the corporate entrepreneurs, there is an important difference between these two. Entrepreneurs Inside can exist and function in any type of organization, may it be a big, small, government agency, non-profit, religious entities, self-organizing entities, and even cooperatives. Unlike corporate entrepreneurs, which is only composed of employees who work for large and established organizations. These entrepreneurs often need support from their senior managers and other team members for their initiatives, which can be a bit difficult if they resist new ideas and simply stick to the status quo, rather than pushing boundaries. An example of these are the imperfect vegetables that are being sold at a discount by the French supermarket Intermarché in a bid to save on food waste. What they did battles against the perception that consumers only wanted to buy perfect vegetables, proving that there's a demand for damaged goods after all. For letter C, we have buying a franchise. A franchise is a type of license purchased by an entrepreneur called franchisee from an existing business, which is called the franchisor, that allows the entrepreneur to trade under the name of that business. Franchising can be a beneficial way for entrepreneurs to get a head start in launching their own businesses, as they do not have to spend the same amount of time on marketing, building the brand, developing processes, and sourcing products. A franchisee not only pays the franchisor a lump sum to buy the franchise, but also has to pay royalties, which are the share of proceeds based on sales revenue. Examples of franchise businesses are Jollibee, 7-Eleven, McDonald's, Potato Corner, and Big Brew. For letter B, we have buying a small business. It happens when the entrepreneur is buying out the existing owner and taking over operations. For some entrepreneurs, this is a less risky approach than starting from scratch. Some business owners also do it to either eliminate the competition, diversify the clientele, obtain technology and expertise, attract and retain the best talent, and update the brand's image. An example of this is when Google bought a cybersecurity company named Mandiant, a cybersecurity company that was also used to improve the Google Cloud security data. In the Philippines, we also know how the Jollibee Foods Corporation or the JFC bought Mang Inasal, Chowking, and Red Ribbon. For letter E, we have social entrepreneurship. While there has been debates on how to define social entrepreneurship and whether all types of entrepreneurship are social, or it should be defined as pure activity of the nonprofit sector, Neck et al. Defines social entrepreneurship as a process of sourcing innovative solutions to social and environmental problems. Since the beginning of the 21st century, social entrepreneurship has become a global movement, with thousands of initiatives being launched every year to improve social problems in areas such as water shortage, education, poverty, and global warming. Examples of these are Simula PH's wooden toothbrushes and Eco Uling by Project Lily. A subcategory of social entrepreneurship is Benefit Corporation or B Corp. It is the voluntary certification designed for-profit companies aiming to achieve social goals alongside business ones. To be certified as a B Corp, the organization is rated on how its employees are treated, its impact on the environment, and how it benefits the community in which it operates. Some B Corp members include Better World Books, which donates a book to someone in need every time a book is purchased. Revolution Foods, which provides affordable, fresh prepared meals to school children from low-income households, and Warby Parker, a prescription eyewear company whose Buy a Pair, Give a Pair scheme involves the donation of one pair of eyeglasses for every pair it sells. The eyeglasses are donated to nonprofit organizations all over the world to help raise awareness in the importance of eye care. In the Philippines, we first had Hope. Hope was launched in 2012 and it is run as a business where all of the profits it makes go into building classrooms. They are actually the first B Corp certified company in the Philippines, and they received the Best of the World Award from 2017 to 2022. For letter F, we have family entrepreneurship. It is a business that is owned and managed by multiple family members, typically for more than one generation. What makes family enterprising part of the portfolio of entrepreneurship types is that each generation has an opportunity to bring the organization forward in new and innovative ways. An entrepreneurial agenda to move the family business forward is essential to business survival, as demonstrated by the fact that the survival rate of family businesses transitioning from the first to second generation is less than 30%. However, another 50% of family businesses don't survive and they move from the second to third generation. This may be because the family owners became stuck with the old ways of doing things and are unwilling to change their business structure as a result. Examples of family entrepreneurship is the Walmart from the US. In the Philippines, we have Ayala Corporation of Ayala Family, Metrobank by George C. Family, ABS-CBN and Meralco by Lopez Family, and JG Summit Holdings by Gokong Wei Family. We also have SM Prime Holdings, Henry C. Family. They are all long-standing family businesses that continue to go from strength to strength. To continue their cycle of growth and continuity, family members must pass on their entrepreneurial mindsets as well as their business ethos. It is this mindset that ensures the survival of family businesses for many years to come. For the last type of entrepreneur, we have serial entrepreneurs. They are also known as habitual entrepreneurs. They are people who start several businesses, whether simultaneously or one after another. Not satisfied with just focusing on one business, serial entrepreneurs are constantly looking out for the next big thing or exploring ways to implement their diverse range of ideas. Richard Branson is a good example of a serial entrepreneur, having made his fortune through Virgin, which began as a music retailer before expanding the brand to include Virgin Atlantic Airlines. Branson turned his hand to railway, music, media, banking, and more. The consummate serial entrepreneur Branson believes that business opportunities are like passes. There's always another one coming. Another one is Elon Musk. He is best known for Tesla, right? But before joining the electric car giant, he was a successful serial entrepreneur. He made and sold his own video games. Also founded Zip2, a digital content company that helped other newspapers and print media get online, and joined and expanded PayPal. While Musk has revolutionized Tesla, he is also working on his next venture, which is SpaceX. In this part, we'll discuss the 5 skills that's important to practice of entrepreneurship. First, we have the skill of play. It frees the imagination, opens up our minds to a wealth of opportunities and possibilities. It also helps us to be more innovative as entrepreneurs. Theorists, such as the famed child development psychologist Piaget, have been extolling the benefits of play for decades. In the context of entrepreneurship, play can also include the use of serious games like educational games, such as alternative reality games and learning simulations that challenges you to be creative and to think like an entrepreneur. The second one is the skill of experimentation. It is best described as acting in order to learn, trying something, learning from the attempt, and building that learning into the next iteration. In the context of entrepreneurship, experimentation means taking action, such as getting out of the building and collecting real-world information to test new concepts. Rather than sitting at a desk, searching databases for the latest research. An example of this is when you have a new product. Say you had created a new energy drink. It would be better if you would go out of the building and try to give out test samples for the potential consumers to try. And if they have other suggestions and ideas, you can take note of that and consider that in making the product you wanted to release. Third is the skill of empathy. Empathy is the understanding of emotions, circumstances, intentions, thoughts, and needs of others. Developing empathy is essential for truly understanding the reality of being an entrepreneur as well as evaluating your own ability to become an entrepreneur. Furthermore, empathy allows you to connect with potential stakeholders in a more meaningful way, which would also help to identify unmet needs, leading to the creation of new products and services. Say, for example, that an entrepreneur had experience having weight problems, or he was a former smoker. By having that experience and empathy, you would understand how hard it is to quit smoking, how hard it is to experience weight problems. Now you would understand how they feel, and you may have a clue of what products they wanted. Fourth skill is the skill of creativity. It requires a general openness to the world and relates to unleashing our creative ability to create and find opportunities and solve problems. Neck et al. Believes that entrepreneurship students are more open to creativity than students from other business courses, a theory that has been supported by recent research. When an entrepreneur is creative enough, they would know how to think outside the box. They would know what products other people would want, and they would understand how to innovate. The last one is the skill of reflection. It actually helps to make sense of all the other actions required of play, empathy, creativity, and experimentation. Thus, it helps codify or learning from practicing the four other skills. Reflection makes us aware of feelings of discomfort, helps us critically analyze our own feelings and knowledge we possess. It also provides us with new perspectives and allows us to evaluate outcomes and draw conclusions. There are actually 6 different ways we can practice reflection. First is the narrative reflection, by describing what happened, by considering what took place, what was said, and who was involved. Second, emotional reflection focuses on how you felt during the presentation and how you managed those emotions. For example, you felt nervousness, anxiety, and etc. Third is the perceptive reflection. It focuses on your perceptions and reactions, as well as the perception and reaction of others, and how different viewpoints, needs, or preferences affected the experience. Fourth is the analytical reflection, which analyzes a situation by thinking about the skills and knowledge you gain from the experience and if anything you have learned relates to anything you have heard about before. Fifth is the evaluative reflection. It focuses on what went well and what seemed to go badly, and if the experience was positive or negative, useful or helpful. Last, we have critical reflection by considering the part you have played in the presentation, the approach you took, what else you might have done, what you have learned about the experience, what questions you have, and what you need to consider as a result. These 5 skills are essential for building a mindset for the practice of entrepreneurship. They are designed for those who are keen to take action. This is because the skill cannot be developed without learning through doing. We want to show you that by taking action is the biggest part of getting your ideas off the ground. And according to Simon Sinek, a motivational speaker, we have to dream big, start small, but most of all, we have to start.
Good day, everyone. As it is important to deconstruct the mythical view discussed of an entrepreneur, debunking these myths is the first step to believe that each one of us has the capability to be an entrepreneur. Rather than focusing on the myths, let's take a look to some truths in the entrepreneurship to further understand how entrepreneurship can be a path for many of us. Truth number one is that entrepreneurship is not reserved for startups. According to Steve Blank's definition, it is a temporary organization in search of a scalable business model. This term first came into vogue during the 1990s dot-com bubble when a plethora of web-based companies were born. In the traditional view to startup, anyone who starts a business is called entrepreneurs. To understand it further, entrepreneur created a business based on research to assess the validity of an idea or business model. The business may be partially funded by seed money from family members or investors, but usually the majority is funded by the entrepreneurs themselves. If the business is successful, the startup does not remain. Startup can be developed into an organization by its own right or be merged to other organization, be bought or be acquired by another company. This traditional view on startup, however, is not the only path for entrepreneurs. The truth is that entrepreneurs are everywhere, from corporations to franchises to the profit or non-profit organizations or even to the family enterprises, there is an entrepreneur. Truth number two. Entrepreneurs do not have a special set of personality traits. Some of you might think being an entrepreneur should be inborn with personality traits of being a brilliant entrepreneur, but in reality, there is no evidence to suggest that entrepreneurs have a special set of personality characteristics that distinguishes them from the rest of us. So, in the early studies, there was a general identified main traits that could be ascribed to entrepreneurs. These are desire to achievement, an innate sense of having the ability to influence, a tendency to take risks, and a tolerance for uncertainty. However, there is no yet scientific evidence to confirm whether these traits are results of nature or nurture or any proven patterns in the behavior of the entrepreneurs or non-entrepreneurs. Over the last couple of decades, researchers have moved away from the traits perspective in favor in how entrepreneurs think and act. They have discovered there are patterns of how entrepreneurs think. This means that all of us has the ability to think and act entrepreneurially. In connection to truth number two, truth number three is that entrepreneurship can be taught. It is a method that requires practice. As entrepreneurship is not predictable and cannot be adequately be taught as a process, instead it is a method or practice approach as it represents a body of skills that when developed through practice over time constitute a toolkit for entrepreneurial action. This entrepreneurial method requires consistent practice so that knowledge and expertise can be continuously developed and applied to future endeavors. Truth number 4 is that entrepreneurship are not extreme risk takers. Contrary to the known stereotype to entrepreneurs that these individuals like to gamble when the stakes are high, there is no evidence to suggest that entrepreneurs take more risks than anyone else. In fact, entrepreneurs with gambling tendencies are usually not successful simply because they are leaving too much to chance. This is very personal and relative, as it is always seem risky from the outside because we really don't know the calculations made and just see the outcome. In fact, most entrepreneurs are very calculated risk takers and gauge what they are willing to lose with their every step. They also practice the cycle of act, learn, and build that encourages taking small action in order to build that learning into the next action. Another truth, which is the truth number 5, is that entrepreneurs collaborate more than they compete. A community plays an important role in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs draw on shared experiences and desire to learn from others who are facing similar challenges. A good example for this is the collaboration between the late Steve Jobs of Apple and Bill Gates of Microsoft on the creation of the Apple Mac, as they are the leader of the two technology giants that were seemingly at war with each other. Not only entrepreneurs collaborate with the other entrepreneurs, they also collaborate with their customers, suppliers, potential investors, or competitors, as it can increase efficiency, spark new ideas, and generate creativity and innovation. Truth number 6 is that entrepreneurs act more than they plan. Having a business plan is not really necessary to succeed in business. As entrepreneurs acted more, they went out and talked to other people, connect with their customers, generate their idea about their product or services they want to create, and build a strong network. With their every action, they collected real data that informed them the next step. So, in a nutshell, they practice being an entrepreneur. And last but not the least, truth number 7, entrepreneurship as a life skill. Many individuals and institutions perceive entrepreneurship as a life skill that helps people to deal with uncertain future by providing them with a new methods to think, act, identify opportunities, approach and solve problems, adapt to new conditions, and take control of personal goals and ambitions. As being entrepreneurial empowers to create opportunities and reach their goals. As we talk about the myths and the truths in entrepreneurship, let's see the conception of entrepreneurship when it comes to gender. One of the greatest myths concerning entrepreneurship is that it is only a male profession. Debunking this myth is that there is also women and other gender who start to run a new business or running an established business. In fact, according to the study of GEM or the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, most countries studied have similar proportion of women and other gender to men early-stage entrepreneurs. This shows that these countries provide support to women and other gender-owned ventures. So, as these individuals might have differ in gender, they became entrepreneurs as the same reasons like men, as they might have some differences in what drives them or motivates them to become one. As long they ascribe in the definition of an entrepreneur, they are an entrepreneur. To drill down the truths and the preconception or the perspective in entrepreneurship, let's talk about entrepreneurship as a method and as a process. In this discussion, we briefly discuss entrepreneurship as a method rather than a process, as claimed by Neck and Murray in their study. In their definition, method is a body of skills that together comprise a toolkit for entrepreneurial action, while process is the means of identifying an opportunity, understanding resource requirements, acquiring resources, planning, implementing, and harvesting. They treat entrepreneurship as a method that requires or demands practice, as the practice of entrepreneurship as they called it. Today, entrepreneurship is most often taught as a process, but the word process assumes no inputs and known outputs. as in manufacturing process. The entrepreneurship practice requires creative and nimble thinking trading to be a heightened level of experimentation when numerous iterations represent stages of learning, rather than a series of starts and stops or even successes and failures. It is a set of practice and have a pace of learning, while as process it have a steps to complete, while process is tested multiple times to ensure quality. When used, it's more to planning than taking action, as method is something that requires a consistent practice so knowledge and expertise can be continually developed and applied to future endeavors. As this discussion is all about the perspective of entrepreneurship, we also identified some myths and truths to this particular subject to give you insights of what really is entrepreneurship. We have also discussed the types of entrepreneurship and some perception and stereotypes in the global and gender entrepreneurship to help you understand this topic in depth. We have also discussed the two main perspectives entrepreneurship, the five skills that is most important to practice by an entrepreneur, and last but not the least, I have explained the distinction of entrepreneurship as a process and as a method. I hope you have learned something in this discussion. Thank you.